need a computer, like a printer to work. Like I was not a tech person. Like, and the fact that I do tech now is insane. Like it is crazy because I'm like, I was very tech challenged.
Anyways, for everybody listening, welcome back to season 2 of the Connector podcast with your host, Joshua Palassis. That's me. That was a super lame intro, but it's okay. I'm leaving it in. Before we get started, quick message from today's sponsor, me and my new school community, the Connector Fight Club, which is very much an extension of this podcast. If you want to continue learning from the experts on these episodes in more of an educational format, be in a supportive community with like-minded entrepreneurs, and have more access to me to help you with networking, social media, communication, and much, much more, then click the first link in the description of this episode to join for free now. Okay, back to the pod. Thank you. Today, I have the absolute privilege of meeting another one of yet my internet friends that I'm hopefully going to be meeting soon. I'm going to be hopefully coming out to California in the next couple months is the plan, so we can actually grab a coffee and hang out. But Kelly Stevens, welcome. You are in and around Irvine. I have a lot of friends in Southern California, so excited to go visit. But I'm happy to let you talk for a minute. I want to hear your background. I want to hear more about you. Everybody else does too. Just a little intro on you quick. You are an AI automation consultant who left your full-time corporate career to go all in on the AI gold rush, which is a very apt term for what's happening right now. And I think one of the most interesting things about you, though, is that you eat a lot of fruit. And I'm excited to hear more about your health journey as well. So we'll talk today about AI, tech, health, personality tests, and we're going to go all in on very, very divisive politics. I'm kidding. We're not going to get into that today. But anyways, Kelly, welcome. Thank you for coming onto my podcast. And please just tell us as much or as little as you want about your story, your background. I don't even know that much about you, so I'm excited to learn even just as your friend.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, thank you so much for having me. This is fun, exciting. I'm excited to be kind of season 2 guest, so that's cool. So I'm Kelly with Ion Automations. We help companies roll out AI and implement AI solutions into their companies. So whether it be an easy automation, moving information from one place to another, or maybe it's, creating a blog automation where it's automatically posting a blog for you so you don't have to do that, or maybe it's a voice bot. There's so many different things you could do with AI. So it's getting in there and understanding, okay, what are you using? What are you doing? And how can we make it better? So it's interesting that AI was not, in my space this time last year. Like I'm really surprised that I'm sitting here talking about AI right now because it's not something I was doing a year ago. I was bit by the entrepreneur bug probably about 8 years ago. I think I was bit by this bug, and I was working a full-time 9-to-5 job. I thought that was what you were supposed to do, and that's what I was doing. And then I learned that, you could make side income, and I learned about being an entrepreneur, and I'm like, this is really exciting. Like, that's really cool. You could do something you're passionate about. So I decided really figure out, what am I passionate about? What do I want to do? And that was health. Like, I love holistic health. I love helping people heal. I overcame personally myself, like all these different issues, like liver issues, all these things, like weight, tons of things. I've lost 41 pounds, kept it off, completely changed my life with health and doing some really awesome things. And so I'm like, I'm going to do health. I'm going to help people with health. Like, that's, the natural thing. And going all in on my passion. And they say, do your passion because you'll never work a day in your life. So I'm like, I'm going to do health. And years of doing this, on my side job as a side on the side of my corporate career, nights and weekends, long nights and weekends. I had no time. I never saw my friends. And I'm like, this isn't really what it was. I was making no money. Nobody really wanted to pay me thousands of dollars to fix their health when they could go to the doctor or they could take a shot, or and so I just found myself really frustrated. I'm like, I don't think this is it, but I don't want to give up because they say if you give up, then that's the only way you'll fail. And I'm like, I don't want to fail. This is what I'm supposed to do, And so still trying to figure it out. And I just really had to rack my brain of, is this right? Like, what is right? And so I found the personality test, and I started just digging into myself and understanding myself better, and like human design, Myers-Briggs. I did Gene Keys, Working Genius. All of these like led me down the path of, I'm not supposed to be a health coach. And no wonder I'm frustrated. No wonder I don't feel like this is right for me because I'm really not supposed to do this. And it was very clear to me. Like, Working Genius was probably that like last kicker. I was like, I should not be doing this. I should not be coaching people on their health. And so I had to get really honest with myself too and say, this isn't what I meant to do. And so about this time last year, I was like, I'm going to go all in and actually help people with automation and with marketing. And I had been trying to grow my health business, doing all this stuff on the back end, doing it for myself. So like, let me help businesses. And that's what I was doing in my full-time job too. I was working with businesses, And so I'm like, let me try this. that worked. That changed everything. And that was something I was like, okay, the universe, responded. I started getting clients. I started getting happier. And I saw something. I was like, this is exciting. This is fun. And I started getting excited about business again. I started like not being frustrated. I was like, this is what I meant to do. And I went all in on AI. And so about June, I left my full-time job. I've been going full steam ahead. I'm making way more than I was making in my corporate six-figure job. And it's fun. It's exciting to talk to businesses and different types of businesses and what they're doing and where they're at, helping them grow and helping them bring technology. And it is just so fun, and so it's just, I didn't think I'd be here this time last year, but I'm so glad that I just really made that decision I have to switch, and I didn't want to quit, but I did quit and I'm so glad I did.
Yeah. I mean, hey, I'm proud of you for making that shift, and now you're making it work. Like, I talk to so many people every day. Like, my job, if you want to call it that, is talking to executives, entrepreneurs, founders, people who are at a high level, and a lot of them are high level C-suite, corporate, and trying to break out into their independent space. And it's hard. Even if you're a CEO, CFO, CMO, whatever, a lot of them find it very, very difficult to become independent and then make that work, because now you lose the structure, you lose the guaranteed pay, you lose the team, right? Now you got to go find your own team, or more than likely you are the team, especially for the beginning. And so the fact that, and that's frankly, when we started talking, and the reason I even wanted you to be on the podcast is not because you're in AI. I could find a million people who are in AI, but it's because you're actually, you're kicking ass, you're doing good. And I want to talk to people who are making things happen. And even though it's only been a relatively short period of time, I think that's almost extra impressive to a degree, because you've been able to, well, you know what? No, it hasn't been a short period of time, because you just said you struggled for a long time,
Years, yeah.
just in a different business. And so I'd love to hear your thoughts on this, because this concept I really believe in, about you will always reap what you sow, but you often will not reap where you sow or when you sow. So you sowed for years. And now AI, like you said, AI? What? AI? I wouldn't have been doing this a year ago. So yeah, I would love your thoughts on like the years and the effort that you put in, and now seeing it come to fruition in a different space. I don't know. Do
It's
you have
crazy
any
as you
thoughts
say
around
that.
that?
I have goosebumps as you say that, because it's crazy. And as things started working and I'm looking back, I'm like, everything that I've done has brought me to this place. If I hadn't of spent my weekends when I was working a full-time job, living how I would live if this was my life, like, let me structure my life. Like, what would I do? What would my life look like if I didn't have that full-time job? So Saturdays, I literally lived that life, like my life now, And so I trained myself and getting into different mastermind groups and doing different things. And it was so crazy to look back. I'm like, everything that I do now and I do now well, I've already done before in different capacities, but I had to fumble through it and I had to learn through it, and it was messy and it was hard. I mean, it was 8 years until something started working for me, and so it was not easy, but I knew that this is what I meant to do. I meant to do something, but it wasn't what I thought it was. And I also was trying to sell something that I thought people wanted, and I thought everyone wanted to get better and everyone wanted to save their health and heal themselves. But no, like, I need to sell what people like actually need, and so selling them what they need, not what they want, like, that was huge.
Thank you for saying that. I always say this, and I don't a lot of people agree with me. Those that are successful entrepreneurs, they'll agree, but I don't hear a lot of people saying, like, screw your feelings about what you're selling or what you're doing. It doesn't matter. Now, I do believe there's a line of, you have to be passionate and believe in the thing you're doing and selling, but just because you're passionate about something doesn't mean you're good at it. And just because you're passionate doesn't mean there's a demand or a need in the market for it. And so you have to
And that's
find
what I
that
did.
intersection.
Yeah, what I was doing was very niche. And so I'm like, oh, everyone will want to eat fruit 100% and take these herbs and, completely live a very crazy life and do these like things to heal their bodies. But no, there's a very small percentage of people that actually want to do that. And so,
Right.
I mean, I was all in, but not everybody wants to do that.
Yeah. And speak to that a little bit, because I know we were talking just, off camera. I know you had some like serious health challenges that you actually helped reverse. And obviously this is not, I'm not prescribing anything to anyone. You should be a full carnivore, or you should be a full pescatarian, or you should be a full whatever. But know your body and learn your body, and realize that all of us have slightly different situations where, in your case, eating almost exclusively fruit actually helped you a lot. So anyways, I don't want to
Yeah,
speak
they
for you.
are.
It's your story, but
Yeah, like, kind of crazy. Yeah, I mean, I've gone, the whole diet was crazy. I probably about, now it's been a long time. When I turned 30, so a while now. Um,
last year.
yeah, last year when I turned 30, I found myself 41 pounds overweight. I just didn't feel good. I didn't look good. I didn't like what I saw in the mirror. And I was like, I'm going to change this. And, that was that moment where I was like, I don't like this. I need to change this. And it was a very slow, long, gradual path. And it just took like, let me start tracking my food. Let me start understanding what's going in my body and just start teaching myself about what am I eating? Like, what does real food do as opposed to something on a box and ingredients, and it led me to true health and really understanding that I kept going and kept going and kept going. And it brought me to raw veganism. So I, for a long time, was eating raw vegan, and I ate 100% fruit for a long time. I was eating mostly just raw food, fruits and vegetables, nuts and seeds. And I felt fantastic. Like, honestly, like it is. And I still eat mostly that way now. And I think it's my edge in entrepreneurship. I think I'm going to crush so many people out there because I'm clear, I'm focused, and I feel good. I have so much energy. I wake up at 4:30 in the morning. I'm like, let's go, let's work. And most people don't do that, and so I'm
I
like,
do not.
I see myself, and I'm in these mastermind groups of 21-year-olds, and they run on coffee and 4 hours of sleep. I'm like, I have 9 hours of sleep and fruit, and I feel fantastic, And so I'm like, I don't, yeah, yeah. I don't have my fruit. I got some water, but yeah, it's interesting because I'm like, I think that's my edge, though. Also, is finding that, and also it's not for everybody, and I have seen it work really well for people and completely transform people's health. And I've overcome liver disease. I've overcome hypothyroidism, depression, anxiety, lots of different things. But I've seen other people heal in other capacities with other diets, and so it just really, it's hard to say that this is for everybody, but it's definitely for me. And I love it. I love eating fruit. Seasonal fruit's so good. Like right now, apples. I love apples, and they taste so good right now because it's apple season and they're so good.
A few years ago, I did my first apple picking kind of outing, and then I took it home, or I took all the apples home, and we made homemade apple cider, and it was so good. I love apple cider, like real apple cider.
You make me want to go buy some apples and juice them. Like,
there you go. Hey, it doesn't count unless you pick them yourself. No, I'm kidding.
I do that. There's a farm down the street. The farm down the street has the best apples. Honestly, it is
nice. Of course they do.
Favorite.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I love it. But yeah, and that raises a really good point, by the way. I think when people become so tribal, like let's specifically talk about food even. You become so tribal, well, I'm a vegan and everyone should be a vegan. I'm a carnivore person and everyone should be. No, they shouldn't actually, because we all like, I might do your diet and do blood work, and the doctor says, good Lord, Josh, you're dying for whatever reasons. Whereas you might do my diet and vice versa. And not that my diet's optimal, but any means. I love Taco Bell a little too much, which is not a good thing.
It's funny you mentioned doctors and blood work because doctors don't know crap about blood. That was also something I did. I was certified in functional blood work. So I'm like, doctor telling you anything about your blood work, don't listen to them, honestly. You need to listen to a functional medicine doctor because doctors don't know crap about your blood work. So if he did tell you were healthy, I would say good luck because, yeah, no, it's
that's a whole other conversation.
Whole other thing, yeah.
Yeah. No, but hey, I get it. I know that there's, not to knock any doctors or anyone listening, but there's a methodology and a prescribed way of doing things in the traditional, well, I shouldn't even say traditional, in the typical Western pharmaceutical led medical industry. It's unfortunate that often things are treated as band-aids, not symptoms. We don't look at root causes. For example, I have some kind of issue with my nasal passages where, like, if you've ever seen me wearing like nose strips even on my Instagram stories or on my posts, like I wear nose strips a lot so I can breathe. Like not the ones to clear your pores, but the ones to like open your passages. And I went to an ENT recently, like last year, and I said, hey, can you please tell me, do I have a blocked septum? What the heck is going on? And after she, absolutely infiltrated my nasal cavity and made me cry. Like, when they just touch that nerve and you can't help and you start crying. By the way, this doctor was like making fun of me. And I was like, woman, you just stuck a spear into my face and you expect my natural reactions not to, like, I wasn't crying because I was sad. Like, I just couldn't help it. Anyways, I'm defending myself. Now I sound guilty. My point being, though, her conclusion was, you're just permanently inflamed. Take this nasal steroid, 2 times a day indefinitely.
Yeah, that's a lot of their answers, and it's sad.
And I didn't. I literally let it sit on my cupboard shelf and I threw it out because I'd rather put a nose strip on than take a steroid to my soft tissue nasal passage, I don't want to.
Well, you wouldn't do what I
don't
would
know
tell
what's in
you,
that
because
crap.
I would tell you that it's something that you're eating that is causing you're eating mucus-forming foods. You're causing mucus in the body. Mucus is forming in the body. So I would say you'd have to look at your diet and your mucus-forming foods. And so that's probably like something you want to do less than sticking something in your nose. You know?
Yeah, I mean, exactly. And frankly, I'm probably going to start going to a naturopath or a dietitian. I'm going to go to somebody soon because I want to get some stuff checked out and looked at. I actually have a blood test set up. I don't think I've ever done a blood test. Well, like that's not true. I've done blood tests for specific things in the past, but just the general, like, hey, just get your lab work, just get your. I don't know when the last time I did it was, and I'm 30 now, so I'm like, all right, maybe I should see
Highly
if I'm dying.
recommend having a functional doctor look at it. Like, and anybody go that extra mile and have a functional
Sure.
doctor look at it, because you get so much more information. It's changed my life understanding functional ranges.
Can I maybe this is different in Canada and the US, probably not. Can I take blood work I get done just from the regular family doctor and take those lab results to that kind of doctor, or do I have to get the blood work done through them?
No, you can take it to anybody. I accepted blood work from your doctor, or I would run people's blood work on my own because I had diagnostic labs. So and most people that do blood work, it's either one or the other, as long as you have something. Yeah. Within the last 6 months, typically. Plus 3.
Interesting. Okay, that's good to know. Yeah, because hey, if anybody's listening to this and you're based in the GTA region in Ontario, hit me up. Let me know if you can help me. Okay, cool. Actually, something I wanted to ask you, by the way, still on the topic of healthcare overall. You and I could probably talk a mile a minute, and the audience would have to slow our speech down. And you were fine with it. And I think I probably have. I've never been diagnosed, but I have a lot of medical friends who think I most likely have some kind of ADHD. I don't know if I have my thoughts about if that's even a real thing or if it's just the way certain people's brains operate. But do you think to be an entrepreneur, you're talking about working full days, corporate, doing your stuff at night, grinding on the weekends, grinding at nights. Hey, I'm with you. I've been doing this kind of stuff for years too. Do you think something needs to be a little off or a little on to be an entrepreneur, especially in this day and age?
Yeah, that's a really good question. It's funny because I look around, I'm like, there's not many people that I think would give up a cushy job, a 6-figure job, and do what I'm doing, working long hours. Like, I don't leave my house some days. Like on Sunday, I'm like, man, it's 3:00. I need to leave my house. It's like, and I'm just working, and I wake up at 5, start working. Yeah, I don't know, but you have something deeper is calling you. There's something deeper. And you can't explain it sometimes. You don't even know what it is, but there's just something else. So yeah, I think that there's something that sets you apart from other people, and sometimes you don't know what that is.
Yeah, someone told me recently. Actually, it was on one of my podcasts. Is that a cat?
Yeah, actually, my cat wants some food right now.
I was like, what is that sound? That's so funny.
Really wants some food right
now. If we have to pause, let me know. You can always go feed your cat. But what's your cat's name?
She's joining the podcast now.
Oh.
She really wants some food.
All right, everybody, welcome.
Yeah, this is 𝗖lie. 𝗖lie, my cat.
𝗖lie. Hi, 𝗖lie. This might give me haters, but I'm definitely more of a cat person than a dog person. Oops, sorry.
I have one cat. I really want a dog, and so she needs a friend, and I'm just like, I really want to get a dog, but not in this. I want to have a house and all that. So I'm like, my next chapter,
Sure.
I will have a dog, and I really want one. But yeah.
I love it. But yeah, sorry. So I was saying, it was actually in my podcast with my friend Grant, and he was talking about, because he works with a lot of very successful people, from celebrities to just wealthy entrepreneurs, and he does their video production, content marketing, all that kind of stuff. And he was saying for him, because we were talking about his family, just his goals, and he's like, I don't want to be a billionaire. I don't want to be these like Alex Hermosi style, always on entrepreneurs. And I was like, yeah, fair enough. Not everyone has to be at the highest level. And by the way, dude, as far as I know, hey, he's doing well. He's doing good. His business is thriving. And as he said it, and when we were talking, I forget if I said it on the podcast, but it actually made me think in the moment. And I was like, I think I do want that. I think I've started to become that person. I never thought I would be. I never even thought about being an entrepreneur. It wasn't a thing when I was growing up. Nobody in my family is or was. And now I'm like, I want to have infinite resources, or as close to as possible. Because when people tell me, and I would love to know your thoughts on this. When people tell me like, I don't know what I would do with $1 million or $10 million, I'm like, what? I could spend $1 million in an hour. Like, you know how many people are already on my list that I would want to help? I want to buy a car for my parents, my family, my friends, my church, that alone, just buying gifts, just buying gifts, I'd spend $1 million. Never mind if I want to get myself a house or get another property or get a car, or never mind anything for me. I could drop $1 million on me in 5 seconds. I could drive 10 million, or I could drop 10 million on other people in 20 seconds. You know what I mean? It's like, I don't see a problem spending at all. And by the way, that's pure spending. Never mind investing. Never mind, other probably more fiscally responsible actions. But I'd love to know from you, like, I don't know, yeah, what is your take on that? Do you find yourself wanting to just endlessly pursue greatness, or is there a cap for you?
It's kind of mixed a little bit for me. I think when I first started, it was like, no, I just want a little bit. I just want 10,000. Everyone's like, I want to make $10,000 a month. And I live in
Yeah,
California. After taxes, $10,000 a month is nothing. $10,000
I
doesn't even
know.
pay that's not, I was making more at my full-time job if you actually do the math, And so I'm like, no,
Yeah,
technically I have to make more than $10,000 a month for my own job to do that. So I had to kind of
yeah.
keep increasing
I
it. And
think
so
everybody started there. Everyone
going
starts
up.
at 10 grand a month.
And then you realize you're like, wait, that's nothing. It's like after you
Yeah,
hit that, you're like, wait, that can't get that. I mean, my rent is 3 grand, just my rent. And so I'm like, okay, I have
right.
to, you got to make a lot for California. And so, yeah, I have been going and going and going. But my ultimate goal, I mean, I've always, for the last couple of years, I've really wanted to be in Russell Brunson's inner circle. And to be in Russell Brunson's
Mm,
inner circle, you have to make $1 million. And so for me, I'm like, I don't really care. I mean, I haven't been like, oh, I want to make 1 million. I just really want to be in Russell Brunson's inner circle. I want to go out there. I want to go to Boise. I want to meet Russell Brunson. Like I have listened to every podcast he's ever done. I love him, and I'm like, I really want to be part of this group. And so that to me drives me to make that million. And I'm like, I have to make 1 million because I want to be in that group, And so that's kind of my driving force. But yeah, but also it's like, yeah, there's so much impact you can have, and there's so much more you can do, and so many people you can help. And I'm really into animals. Like I want to have I want to have a cat, like an animal sanctuary. I want to help more
yeah, yeah.
animals, and with more money, more resources, you could do that, And so it's doing more and expanding more, and yeah, I don't think it's stopping.
Yeah, well, and that's the thing, right? Is once you get out of your own little bubble, you realize how much more there is to give, to do, to live. Like, um, yeah, I mean, there's just so, and if for the person, if someone's listening to this and you think that way, I wouldn't want $1 million. What about your neighbor? What about your grandma? What about the charity you always tell people you donate to? You know, what about the kid that comes to your knocks on your door to mow your lawn, and they're just trying to make it work. Don't you want to give that kid $100 tip if they do a good job, just to motivate and encourage them? What about the waitress that you talk to who literally, as she's opening up and she just breaks down and tells you how she's a single mom and she's trying to go to school and make a better life for her kid, and the dad disappeared, doesn't pay anything, and she's just struggling. Why don't you want to just give her $1,000 tip? Why don't you want to just pay for her school? Why not? Like, I could go on and on and on and on. And you see all these YouTubers and these TikTokers now who are doing these, like, they'll just knock on people's houses, or they'll ask them for, hey, can you buy this watermelon for me? Oh, because you were kind to me today, here's a car. Like, I
Yeah.
love those videos. And, people have thoughts about, well, why record it? Just do something nice for people. But I think it's nice that those channels are out there, because it's definitely inspiring to see that. And I think, kindness begets kindness, generosity begets generosity. And I also believe in what's called the cycle of generosity. So if I want to give you a gift, Kelly, and you reject the gift, now there's always the, oh, please, no, it's okay, you don't have to. But if you actually reject the gift after I insist, you're breaking the cycle. You're making me feel like punitive. You're making me feel bad for wanting to do something kind to you. And now you're creating these like negative mental pathways where now giving and being generous is not good because Kelly didn't want it. Now maybe the next person rejects it, and the next person. And then eventually you turn a generous person into a selfish, bitter person, and you break that cycle of generosity. Whereas if you received my gift, you would be more inclined and in a state of being to now continue to pass on generosity. Um, and actually, maybe that's something I'm curious your thoughts on is, how have you, in this journey of being an entrepreneur, how have you seen maybe the growth and the decline of people you've watched who are very selfish versus very generous?
Yeah, it's interesting. I've had quite a few accountability buddies because I've done so many different kind of niches and things, and I'm like, "Oh, I'll try this, or I'll try this angle, or I'll try this angle and see if it'll work," and lots of different people. And you can tell, it's the people that are blaming outside or blaming other people or blaming it's the coach's fault that I didn't get results, or, they don't ever really accept their own, like, "Oh, it wasn't me that I didn't reach out to people." And for me, looking back now, I know why I didn't have success. I didn't have conversations. And it's all about conversations, is doing these activities every single the revenue generating activities. I was told go on social media and post. So I was posting and I was doing stories. That's not talking to people, like that's not having conversations. That's not DMing people and sending messages. I wasn't doing that. And now I reach out to hundreds of people every day and I'm having conversations every day. And there's a completely different shift now. And so I think, it's completely different doing it this way than that way.
Yeah. So what you're saying is there's a difference between just being busy and being productive and busy.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah, I was so busy before and there was hours. It was like, but I was posting on social media. And I think I took Facebook, I took Instagram, I took all of that off of my phone last September. I don't even have it on my phone now. And it's amazing. I highly recommend trying this because it's amazing. I don't even want to go on there ever. And now since I don't sell B2C anymore, I'm mostly B2B. I'm just really on LinkedIn. And so that's on a
Mm.
computer. That's not really on my phone. It's changed everything. And I think I thought being on social media and you had to be there and you had to do this, you had to be busy, you had to post. That was what was going to bring you business. It's not. I've made thousands and thousands of dollars by not posting at all. And so
Yeah.
it's doable.
Yeah. And I think it's very important to know your audience, right? Know where your audience is too, your ICP, your ideal client profile, right? Like where are the people you're trying to reach? So for example, me posting this, if you're hearing this on YouTube, well, yeah, of course, it's a long form video podcast, YouTube or Spotify or, that's the point. That's where it needs to be because that's the goal of this kind of a conversation is to reach people who are on those platforms. But then I'll post the clips, and I'll be very selective which clips I post to LinkedIn because not every clip from my podcast is a LinkedIn post, but not every clip is a TikTok post and so, being relatively selective and then using those as well in your outreach and I have different intentions than you because I have a different business. And so we have different ICPs and we have different approaches. And that's, I think everyone needs to realize it's not copy paste, right? And sometimes you need to just manhandle it and try. So, you and I have both done a bajillion DMs. I've tried a million DMs on everything, on Instagram, on Facebook, on Twitter, and now I've narrowed my time and my attention to Instagram and LinkedIn. You've narrowed your attention mostly to LinkedIn. So, but we've both done it probably everywhere and narrowed to where we realize our time and attention is best spent.
Mm-hmm.
And I think people need to realize just because you're busy punching a tree doesn't mean you're doing better work than if you had an axe or a chainsaw and you worked less time, but more efficiently with the right tools.
100%. Yeah. And I think what got me further was people, having the right people around me and being in mastermind groups and getting with
Mm.
people who have done what I've done before. Like right now, I have an accountability buddy and she's already had a team before. And right now, I'm transitioning from, that doer into the business owner and I have a team. And this is all new for me, very new for me. How do I manage people? And now I'm not really doing the client work. I'm just managing the freelancers that are doing the work. And it's very different. So having the people that have done what you've done and you can ask them, you can go to them like, what do I do? What would you do in this situation? That's been huge for me.
Yeah, yeah. And speaking of, getting the right tools and having the right, what's the word I'm looking for? Resources, I guess, to make your time more effective. Obviously, subject of the day, AI. I guess that was your intro, right? AI automation expert. Like, how? I have like two questions in my head. So okay, I'll give you some context, and then I love your thoughts. I was talking to a friend recently. Whenever this posts, he'll probably be the episode right before. He actually has his company Synergists he's American, Chris Irving. He's American, but his whole team of VAs is in the Philippines, mostly in the Philippines. And they do everything from, web design to podcast editing. And they're actually going to help me do some edits they might edit this podcast by the time it comes out. And so I asked him this question though, because they do a lot of AI as well. And his people will use a lot of AI. I said, how much of your entire team do you think is going to be replaced by AI? Because he has American, like project managers to manage the teams, whether it's in India, Pakistan, Philippines, whatever. And I was asking him about how much he thinks will be replaced by AI. But without even telling you his answer, I'd love to know your thoughts on, all these processes that people use VAs for, whether it's video editing, it's copywriting, posting on social media, scheduling things, and all of the above, because it's typically that's the funnel, right? Is you got to make the post, you got to create the copy, you got to post it, you got to schedule it, and usually that's 1 to 3 different teams of VAs or whatever just doing that stuff. What realistically do you think a lot of that is going to be fully replaced in the near future?
It's already pretty much replaced by most people. It's funny because I had a VA I was working with in my last businesses. I needed that. And before automation came in, I needed the VA. And now I'm in a place where I'm very busy. I have a lot of stuff going on, but I don't have work that needs to be done by a VA. Like I have nothing for a VA to do, like honestly, because everything's done with automation or by me or by my tech people. And so I'm like, it's getting to a place where all the admin stuff is getting automated. It's getting very easy. So I'm like, I wish I had work for her because I love her. I love working with her, but I'm like, I don't have any work for her. And so I think it is
Yeah.
getting there, And one of my jobs is I replace admins. That's literally what I do is I replace admins. I was working with a roofing company. I replaced an admin because all she was really doing was data entry. And basically they were getting leads from their website and they were going into this bucket and whenever she felt like it, would go in and put the leads into their CRM. And I'm like, I can have that in your CRM within a couple seconds. And so I started doing that and he was like, wow, this is more accurate. It's going in there in seconds as opposed to days or weeks and waiting on the leads. Cause I mean, those are hot leads. If they're going on your website, they want roofing done. You got to get in contact with them. It's speed to lead right now. And so we were able to eliminate the admin right there. And so I think there's just going to be more and more of that coming out. And any of these anything that a computer's doing, moving from one thing to another, copy paste, coming up with content, the ChatGPT stuff, yeah, they're going to be replaced. I will be replacing a lot of them.
Do you think, okay, so because to my knowledge, right, I'm not an AI expert by any means, but I talk to a lot of folks that leverage AI in a lot of different ways, you being one of them. And it seems like the current state of things right now is there are a lot of awesome tools. There's a lot of awesome individual assets, but you kind of have to, you need someone like yourself to mishmash all of them together to do more complex tasks, if they can even work together or talk together. Okay, for example, right? Let's say this podcast drops and maybe I have a real editor edit the full thing. So to have a tool that I could drop this in creates AI clips, then those AI clips automatically get captions added, automatically gets scheduled to post on YouTube, on TikTok, on whatever. And then from there, automatically have an agent go into my Instagram and into my LinkedIn to now, let's say, go engage on other people's posts around the time of the post so that I create natural draw and attention back to my post. And then on top of that, if somebody likes and comments on my post, maybe have the automation automatically DM them to say like, hey, I saw you like my post. You get the point. This funnel of activities, typically that right now, to my knowledge, would take like 5, 6, 7 different tools and a project manager or somebody to really make sure. And then if one thing gets broken, the whole thing gets broken. So I give this really detailed example to ask the question, how far away do you think we are from me being able to literally just go, hey, GPT, hey, Sora, hey, Grok, I just need you to do all of this. And also everyone who comments, go find their, contact info and shoot them an email and give my calendar link. And then if they email back, send a response. And then if they actually call, answer it for me and book a meeting. Like, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
How far are we from having one tool, one agent that can just do all these types of tasks?
We are very close. Very, very. I mean, you're just explaining MCPs right there. Basically, that's an MCP. It's you would use ChatGPT and you say, hey, do this for me. And on the back end, it'd be connected to all the automation tools and it would just be running that. That's exactly what you just described. And it's there now. People are doing it now. But another thing, you just hit the nail on the head. There's a lot of different tools that a lot of people have this misconception. I think there's all these different tools out there. There's N8N, there's Make, there's Zapier. There's all these different automation tools to connect everything together. going away. And I'm seeing that go away very, very quickly. I use platforms like Airtable and Softer, and all these platforms are kind of becoming all-in-one automation platforms. That's what I'm seeing in the future. And I think when this podcast comes out, it's going to be very clear that this is the future because I see it happening right now. Softer is releasing workflows. So basically, they're integrating an automation platform inside of there. So you're going to have to just basically pick one platform. Say it's HubSpot, say it's Go High Level, whatever platform you like. That's going to be your all-in-one automation platform because they're starting to get everything in there. I build everything in Airtable. I mostly build Airtable builds for all my clients because we build this central source of truth. I'm not going to have to use Maker, any N8N or anything else because we can almost do everything in there. It's like read the email, pull this into there, create a picture, create an image, post it on my LinkedIn. You can do all that within Airtable actually right now.
Wow.
It's kind of crazy what you can do, but it's also crazy people don't understand you can do this right now.
Wow. Yeah, I mean it sounds like magic.
It's
It
so
sounds
fun
like
to do this because when people are like, "Could I do this?" I'm like, "Of course you could. Yeah, let's do it." And for me, I'm like, everything is figure outable, but it might not be 100% be able to be automated right now, and that could
yeah.
change in a couple months, And so that's what's cool is like everything is figure outable. If you want to do some crazy thing, what you just described, I could 100% do that for you.
Yeah, it's a very entrepreneurial word you just used. Figure outable.
True.
Hey, can you do this? It's figure outable.
Got it. Got it. Figure it out. Yeah.
Hey
And
Kelly,
I have a team of everybody. So I'm like, I have experts in almost every single niche, It's like if you want SEO on top of your automation, I've got an SEO person, So it's like I got the people, I got the guys, I'll figure it out.
yeah, that's so crazy. Where do you think, okay, let's say these tools over the next year are like, oh, pristine, they work so well. And I, without a ton of knowledge, could give prompts and it does all the back end. Where's the where do people come in at that point? Like where, like, because then we're gonna enter this phase of like, and I think we're already there a lot when it comes to DMs and messaging, and you see, or even captions, you see a lot of long, what are they called, EM dashes or whatever, the long
Dashes,
hyphens,
yeah.
right?
Yeah.
And so you see a lot of that, and so it's very clear. Oh, this is an automation. Oh, I commented on Grant Cardone's picture on Instagram and I got a DM from Grant Cardone. Okay, obviously I didn't. It's his many chats agent or whatever. So my point is, actually, I don't know my point, but I'll ask you this question.
Like where we're going, like
D-
a year from now, I can't even tell you
Yeah.
because like every week it's changing. I'll be
Yeah.
smack dab in building an automation for somebody, and ChatGPT will release a new feature, and I'm like, well, there goes that automation. Now we got to look at this, and that's just how fast we're moving, and it's actually happening faster and faster now. And so I don't know where we're going to be in a year, but there are humans that still need to be in the loop, especially with content. I think if you're doing any sort of content right now, it's not there to be able to just post it without a human reading it. I'm doing an automatic blog right now for a healthcare staffing company, and it's posting imagine every single beginning of the blog. It starts with imagine. I'm like, you can't do that. And I told it not to do that, but it's still doing, so it's like you have to have a human in the loop a little bit right now.
Right.
Is that going to change in a year? I mean, I don't know. Like it's,
Yeah.
I think you're going to almost always have to review your brand, but maybe I don't know. Never say never, I guess, right?
Yeah, it was funny, even with so I pretty much exclusively use ChatGPT, just part of it because I don't want to have a million softwares that I have to pay for, and part of it is because I'm just ignorant. But because it does everything I needed to, whether it's it does everything I needed to right now. But it's funny, right? Because also I have a separate project conversation for social media, one for work, one for just general inquiries, and then my social media one. Generally, I say, I named mine Amara. So I say, hey, Amara, I have an Instagram post from my podcast with Kelly. And keep in mind, by the time I start making posts, I'll have already uploaded the SRT file, like the whole transcript of our podcast. I'll have already made a YouTube caption. So she'll know who you are and which episode number you are. So then I'll say, hey, Amara, I need you to make me an Instagram caption for my podcast with Kelly. We talked about this, and this in this short 45-second clip. Can you please make it? Like, at this point, that's all I have to say, and it's almost always pretty much spot on. I might have to take out a couple dashes because she never gets that right, and I might change a couple words, but she knows that I like the top three, the top phrase is bolded. It's like that special bolding where you can actually copy and paste it into LinkedIn or into Instagram and it stands out. So she knows I like that for keywords, especially the title. She knows I want usually independent sentences, not too long, not more than 1 or 2 blocks each. And then she knows I want about 5 to 10 hashtags for Instagram. I only want about 3 to 5 for TikTok and YouTube. And when I say, hey, that's great, now can you give me the TikTok version? She'll shorten it and give me vertical hashtags for TikTok and YouTube formats. And so my point, and then for LinkedIn, it'll be a different format for LinkedIn. And she knows for LinkedIn that I like to put the link to my podcast in the actual caption, because you can't click on a link on an Instagram caption or a TikTok caption. You can click on it on LinkedIn. So you see what I'm saying is she slowly learned, but then sometimes I'll be like, hey, shorten this conversation for me. And she won't be able to do a basic, simple thing. Or I asked her, hey, can you please make me a YouTube title that's less than 100 characters? And it was 102 characters. And I was like, do you not know how to read characters? What do you mean?
Yeah. And that's just where we're at with AI. It's not, I think people think it's this magic, powerful thing that it knows and it can do all this stuff now. And I'm like, it still has its faults just like that. And it's going to happen. It's a computer, it's software. We have these issues all the time. It's computers, and you just have to step back and say it's a computer program. It's not perfect.
Yeah. Hey, Amara, if you're listening, she didn't mean that. Okay.
She's perfect.
What's funny? I asked it a while ago. I asked her, sorry, wrong pronouns. I asked her, how many years do you think it's going to take for you to be, what was the 2 questions I asked? One was like fully, like almost to the point of consciousness where I could have legit back-to-back conversations and she would be more emotive. And then I asked, and then how long do you think it would take for you to be in a physical body, like in all the movies, Ex Machina, I, Robot, whatever. And I think she said for the almost consciousness was like 5 years from now. And the almost body, she said, like, I don't know, but probably within a decade. But also keep in mind, the smarter it gets, the more it can figure itself out. So if AI gets really smart and it can figure out processes to put itself into then you can have a maid, then you can have a cleaner, then you can have a gardener, you can have a...
Yeah, I've read by 2030 we're gonna have robot cleaners and robot maids and robot home helpers. I'm like, I am all for that. Have a little bot around the house. I mean, we already have the robot like vacuum cleaners, right? You gotta have a robot cleaner. Are you getting a Roomba? There you go. So now just imagine him like 3 feet tall. So I live in Irvine. They have
her
these
name's
robots
Dustina.
now on the streets. Oh, what's the name?
Dustina.
Nice. No, so in Irvine right now, we have these robots on the street and they're probably 3 feet tall and they just roll down the street and they're surveying and just doing the sidewalks to make sure the sidewalks are properly paved and all that. But it's kind of crazy because I walk outside and I see robots rolling down the sidewalks, rolling down the streets. I'm like, this is the future of where we're going, and so they're already building these robots that are rolling around surveying things. It's only a matter of time. So they have the arms and they can start cleaning our houses and cleaning, so I'm like, I can't wait for a robot to wash and chop all my fresh food. Like, oh my gosh, how long it takes me to do that? Go to the farmer's market, wash and chop everything. Like, just go do that, robot. Like,
wow. I feel like I gotta put on like my blue light glasses for this conversation. I gotta like, you know what I mean? I gotta tech bro it up a bit more. Yeah. It's isn't it funny how on one end of things, like, did you grow up watching a lot of Star Wars or fictional stuff like that?
Never. I think I've seen maybe one Star Wars. I shouldn't say that because people will hate on me. But yeah,
we'll talk after. We'll talk after.
No Star Wars person. No, I watched like the Jetsons. That I was around then. But yeah, not much. Yeah, I
disappointed in you.
I was someone who was scared of AI. Honestly, when I first heard about AI a couple years ago, I was scared of it. I was like, wait, I'm an admin. They're gonna take my job. Like what? And so instead of being scared, I went all in and was like, I'm going to learn more about it than anyone else knows. And people are always like, how do you know so much? I'm like, I don't know. Like, I honestly, because I try everything. So when they were like, oh, this new tool or this new tool, I'd go on there and I play with it and I go on there. I'm like, oh, it does this. Okay. Because there's hundreds of all these AI tools. And then I also got newsletters. So every single day I would read probably an hour of newsletters, like just random AI newsletters. And I would just read and read. And probably after 6 months, you kind of start to understand like the industry and everything, the players and all that. And you're like, okay, I understand this now. But yeah, it was 8 months of just like diving in of let me understand this industry because I didn't know anything. I could barely get a computer, like a printer to work. Like I was not a tech person. Like, and the fact that I do tech now is insane. Like it is crazy because I'm like, I was very tech challenged like 3 years ago. There's no people are like, what you do AI? Like, so I'm like, if I can do AI, anyone can do AI. I'm like, I'm coming for people's jobs because AI is coming for people's jobs. I was able to, get out of my job with AI and make a lot of money with AI. If I can
Right.
do it, other people are going to do it too.
All right, that's officially the intro for this podcast is I couldn't get a printer to work. Look at me.
It's true. Like seriously, I remember fighting with those printers, those big, massive printers that you have in corporate America. Oh my gosh! I'm like, just work.
That's so funny. Yeah.
I was
Wow.
not. I was on the phone with the technical like assistance department all the time because I'm like, this won't work, and just random stupid things. And they're like, you need to restart your computer, or just like stupid things. I'm like, oh, okay, So yeah, the fact that I'm doing this is anyone can learn it, honestly.
Well, I love that. Well, I love that because I think a lot of people are probably scared,
Mhm.
especially those that are, let's say 40, 50, and above years old. And they're like, I can't learn new skills. I went to school and I did all this and now I have this job. And it's like, first of all, give yourself more credit. Like you have if you're 40 or 50, you got like double that time to live, God willing, hopefully. So you're telling me for the next half of your life, you'll learn nothing. You're not capable of evolving and shifting and growing. Come on, give yourself more credit. Of course you are. You're not
And
that old of a dog.
I knew a lot of people at the beginning, they were like, just kind of, they're like, I don't want to learn this. It uses too many resources, or I don't know, I don't like it, And I'm like, you need to jump on board, especially if you have a business. If you're not using it for your business right now, your competitors are, and they're going to just
Right,
completely
right.
crush you. And so it's something that you have to get. It's almost like the internet. When the internet came out, you have to have a website. And so it's something like you're going to have
Yeah.
to learn this.
Yeah. Well, it's just like, websites or food websites. No, what am I saying? Restaurants. Oh my gosh. I can't think of the word.
Food websites.
Re- Restaurants that didn't get on Uber Eats or have their own internal delivery during COVID. It's like, well, it just doesn't make sense for our margins. Well, you know what also doesn't make sense for your margins? No profit at all.
No one's going to
so
find you. Yeah.
so suck it up, get on Uber Eats and skip the dishes or whatever during COVID. And you don't necessarily have to do that forever. Mind you, pretty much everybody does now. But, I heard some restaurant owners say like, yeah, we don't do that. I'm like, I mean, hey, I know it sucks. I know it's not perfect, but like, damn, like, do you want to just suffocate because you're being strangled? And if you don't, figure it
Yeah.
out, then. But
Yeah, and it's
yeah,
it's it's just so helpful though. I mean, for me, because I started doing it, I wasn't even using it for business, but when I started doing it, I had it doing my meal planning, and I'm someone been in health for so long. I would spend 2 hours every single week writing out a meal plan, and I don't like to eat the same thing over and over. So every week, I'm like, what do I want to eat? I would search online for recipes. I would find those recipes. I would copy those recipes. I would make a grocery list, and then I built a bot that did this for me in 10 minutes. And then it would send me an email on Friday saying, here's your in-season fruits, all the fruits that you need to get this weekend at the farmer's market. I'm like, cool. And so I took something that was 2 hours down to 5 minutes. I'm like, this is insane.
well,
Like this is, and it's so helpful. It saves your time.
yeah. Can you touch on that? Because I always hear this is actually something I don't really understand, and this is a good conversation for it. I always hear people talking now about I made a bot for this. What the hell does that mean? I
Well,
actually
you
have no
kind of
idea.
you kind of touched on it because you said you made projects. So bots, when I say bots, I say basically a GPT. So kind of like you can either make a project or you can make a custom GPT. Like if you pay for Chat GPT, you can make custom GPTs. I like custom GPTs because you can share them. They're like their own little thing. So very similar to projects, very, very similar to projects, but that's like your own little bot. And so I have
Okay.
my own custom GPT that's my own little bot. So that's kind of what I call it. But a project would be like a bot too, because you're training it just
Okay.
generally.
Okay.
Yeah,
That
but
makes
it's
a lot of
kinda
sense.
cool, like,
Yeah.
now, like, the other night I was cooking dinner and I was like, "Okay, let me just test this out," because it's really cool how you just test these things. So you can actually physically use the camera on your phone and have it show you and say, "Okay, help me cook this dinner." And it'll say, "Okay, turn this over." I was cooking fish and I was like, "Okay, turn this over," and it's medium rare, and it was like, "Turn up the stove," and it literally was looking at what I was doing, telling me step by step exactly how to cook something. I'm like, "That is insane. That is gonna take over a lot of people's jobs?" Like, that is and I saw this in the health world too, and that was kind of one of those red flags of like, I got to get out of this because people are going to be going to ChatGPT. They're going to be getting their recipes here. They're not going to need my recipe books that I'm creating. They're not going to need this help because they're going to be asking ChatGPT as a health coach. I came out with a bot, like a custom bot, and it
Yeah.
was too early. And the raw food world was like, what is this? I don't want to use this. It was like it was too much. It was way too early for bots, and like, yeah.
Well,
So.
Do you okay, well, here's another question on the topic. Are you concerned at all about fully automated home, fully automated car, fully automated, tools, and then your home turns on you because the government decides you need to shut up, or your car decides to drive you off a cliff because somebody that's your enemy, not even the government, somebody doesn't want you, somebody doesn't like you, they got a grudge, and they're a good hacker and they can drive your car off a cliff. Like, do you think there's a legitimate concern for that kind of, even when it comes to Neuralink and it comes to Meta glasses and it comes to all these, people are going to start having more robotic prosthetics that have AI features. They're going to have, I guarantee probably in the next 5 to 10 years, we're going to have ocular robotic prosthetics that can probably see in different spectrums, zoom in, but then at the same time, your eye can be hacked.
Yeah.
So, do you think there's a real concern for that kind of stuff? Or do you think there's enough of a firewall and protection agents that can fend off
I
these?
mean, I think there's a concern. 100% there's a concern, but my concern is a very different concern than most people. Because I come from the holistic world, because I understand EMFs, because I understand electromagnetic and electricity and what it does to the body. Yes, there is a major concern. I'm like, I would never have a smart home. I would never have an automatic car. Like, and so all these things, I'm like, just the toxicity that you get from that, the body is not prepared for this kind of stuff. And so even this
Interesting.
Aura ring, I think my subscription's over this month. I'm done with it. I'm like, I don't want any of this electro stuff on my body. We don't need this. We you want to limit that, And so I think there's a big concern coming up because we're introducing a lot more electromagnetics to the body, and the body is not meant for this, And so I think there is a bigger issue that's going to be surfacing.
Interesting. I wasn't even thinking about that, but I guess,
I'm a toxin person. I'm like, yeah, toxins, it's toxic.
yeah, you're in a really fun, you're a unique person where on one end, AI, automations, tech, but on the other end, you're like, get it away from me.
Yeah, like, and as I worked for a new home builder and understanding the materials you put in a new home and, like, the spray foam, all this kind of stuff, I'm like, I would never buy a new home, And so I have to build my own home and all these kind of things, and
Wow.
so it is something that you have to most people don't think about this, you think about health as, like, what you eat, but you don't think about health as the chemicals around you or the environment or the air or the
Right.
radiation. You don't think about these things. Those things are just as important as working out and eating, honestly.
Right. Well, going back to my nasal passage thing from earlier, because I've changed because I've had this for a long time, and I've changed diets many times, and I've never seen an improvement here. And I'm almost certain it's something in these walls, it's something in the house, it's something in my air. It could even literally be the air in my city. I live in a
It could be
steel town.
mold. Yeah, you could be living in mold.
Yeah, that could be. And I also, this town I live in is known as Steel City. Like, we're known for the production of steel. There's two major
Mm.
international factories. My dad used to work at one down the mountain. So even the water, and we were right by Lake Ontario, and the water. So there's like a beachfront near me, but like, everybody knows you don't go in the water there because of how just polluted it is, because the steel factories are right there. But then at the same time, the same water down the bay a little bit in Burlington, which is a town just across the bridge, across the water, people go in the water all the time. And it's like, yeah, but it's the same water though.
Yeah,
it's,
it's the same
it's
water.
not that far away. And that's going into the air. That's going, like, if you look at night on my, kind of close to where I live is the escarpment of we call it the mountain. It's just a really, really big hill that half the city lives on the hill, half the city lives downtown, or down the mountain, we call it. But if you look on the escarpment, and there's like a trail there, like a walking trail, and if you just look over, you'll see flames from the other side of the city where the steel factories are. So it's like, I'm sure that doesn't help.
Yeah, that's toxins in the air. Yeah, you definitely probably should look into a natural holistic doctor and see.
Yeah. No, seriously, yeah, this is
Yeah,
encouraging me to do so.
yeah, you
Do you
should.
know
I
who
mean,
what's the dude who's trying to live forever?
Brian Johnson, that one?
Brian Johnson, you know who
Yeah,
that is? Yeah, yeah.
yeah.
I don't know the context, but I just saw a really quick clip earlier, scrolling Instagram, and I guess he went to India for some reason, and he was on a podcast in India, and he just stops in the middle of it, and he's like, "Can I get a mask? Can I get a mask?" And he puts on an N95 mask because he's like, "The air is
He
burning my
started feeling
lungs."
it.
He's like, "I can't even breathe your air."
Well, And it's interesting because when you clean your body out and you're so clean and because I've been to that level, I've done some deep regenerative detoxes. I've pulled parasites out. I've done some deep stuff. And when you get the body to that level, you are very sensitive to things. Like if I ate any gluten, instantly I would have mucus in my nose and I'd see it. So I get what
Wow.
he's saying, because when you are at this different level, like you are very sensitive to that kind of stuff. And so I could see that.
Do you think there's a balance? Like, okay, so let's be realistic living in this world, not the perfect world, but like this world. Do you think just due to the ways that our bodies do adapt and, can actually manage some of these things, do you think it would be ideal for everyone to be at that level of health and cleanliness? Or do you think there's actually some merit to, I hate to say this, but like almost being a little polluted just so your body can kind of be, because then if you're at that level of pureness, let's call it, then like you said, you are more susceptible, you are more sensitive, which in a weird way it could actually be more annoying or more detrimental if you're always feeling all the effects of all these little tweaks in the atmosphere and
Yeah,
everything.
and it's I think it's a personal choice, because I think everybody you have I always tell people you have like a level 1 through 10. Like how healthy do you really want to be? If you want to be a 10, you are living a very different you're living a Brian Johnson life. You are living a very different life than an average person. If you want to go out to eat and you want to eat whatever and you want to have alcohol on the weekends, whatever you do, you're probably living in a 5 or a 6. So it's like where do you really want to live on that? Where do you want to be? And everybody wants to be different. Some people I've met friends, they're like, I would never give up that food. I would never give up dairy. And I'm like, cool, enjoy your sickness. Enjoy this because you're never going to get well eating this food. And so it's just you have to, it's what do you want? And for me, I
Yeah.
like feeling good because once you feel how good it feels to feel good, I don't want to, I would never go back to being 40 pounds overweight, eating dairy, feeling bad. I would never go back to that ever. Like I feel so good, like it's so good. So I'm like, I don't
Yeah.
even think I would go. I eat some fish now, but I don't eat meat still. And so I'm like, I don't even think I would really go back to where I was before. And so yeah, I don't know. I'm trying to go
Yeah.
cleaner now.
Well,
I think I'm going back to the raw vegan food soon.
and that's the thing, right? Is like this is something I've been thinking about a lot lately because I'm so busy and I have so much going on. I don't want to make excuses. I'm not an excuse guy, but I'm choosing my battles in the sense that I know if I went really strict with fitness and diet, I would quote unquote suffer for a period of time before it got better. And because of how just because of everything in my life right now, I know that, and I'm choosing not to purposely suffer at the moment because I'd rather, after a hard day and all this stuff I'm doing right now, I'd rather enjoy a piece of blueberry pie that I have downstairs and like get Taco Bell once a week. But I know, but at the same time, the other side of me that I wrestle with is I've never gotten to my peak. I've never allowed myself to really be disciplined enough to get there, and I want to. I might not maintain it, but I really, really, really want to see I want to see how healthy and strong I can really make myself in this body without this. Like, I don't want to take steroids. I don't want to have to do anabolics or stuff like that. Like, I don't want to do bodybuilding. So I'm not going to purposely insert foreign substances like that to get myself to a peak that's beyond what I could do naturally. But I think for me, and I could be totally skewed in this. The way I think right now is when I'm a little wealthier, a little freer, and a little bit more kind of like things are a little bit more routine, and I have just excessive cash flow, more time bought back. Then I'm gonna pay a trainer. I'm gonna pay a dietitian. And I'm just gonna have people control that aspect of my life. Because if I have a session with a trainer, I will show up. But if it's just me going to the gym whenever I have time, I sometimes won't show up, and I'm not as disciplined if I don't have the appointment. So I know if I had someone doing my groceries for me, making my meal plan for me, training me, I would stick to it. And again, I might be making excuses,
Oh,
but
you got to be careful saying that because what happens if you got sick tomorrow?
yeah.
You got sick tomorrow, everything would change. What happens? And we don't have all the time in the world. I say the same thing because honestly, my diet since going into entrepreneurship, since leaving a corporate office, since sitting in this desk like all day, my diet has eased off. I don't go to the gym as much as I used to. And so I'm kind of the same way. I'm like, oh, I'll just make more money and then I'll just pay for someone to fix it. And I'm in the same thing as you. And I'm like, no, that's not the way to do it. And so when I find myself getting frustrated, getting tired, I look at my calendar. I'm like, I haven't been going to the gym like I should. And so I make a priority. Like I have to go to the gym. It's like I do this. And I've been going to yoga.
Yeah.
Yoga's been helping a lot, I think, with my mindset. I've been doing a lot of yoga classes lately. So
Yeah.
has been something I'm like, you have to make it a priority, and so I know it's hard. It's so hard. I'm there with you too, but I'm like, you gotta, and then also like my stomach, I haven't been eating on my diet. My stomach hasn't been feeling good, so it's like you get that. It's like, cool, I'm eating what I want, but also I don't feel how I want to feel, and so.
Yeah. I know it's such a give and take, right? It's like you can, because it's like I'll work hard all day and be excited for the anticipation of Taco Bell, like a bad food. And then I'll eat it, I'll feel great, and I'll be like, oh my gosh, I'm so happy that the hard day is no more because I'm enjoying this ridiculous food. But then for the rest of the evening and maybe the next morning, I'm now dealing with, and by the way, my body's a tank. I can deal with Taco Bell now. My gut is prepared. But I know for a fact I definitely feel more bloated. I feel a little more lethargic. So I know the next day I could feel better if I ate something better, but I also wouldn't have been as excited the night before. So see what I'm saying? It's like I
You gotta
got to
find like
decide for
that
myself.
thing that's
Yeah.
a treat that's like not, yeah, I don't know. Maybe you
So
could do nice cream. So nice cream is something that's, have you ever heard of nice cream?
no,
You should get, maybe this could be your thing. Like instead of your night,
maybe.
this used to be my thing when I was raw vegan and like all I was eating was fruit. And I was like, how do you
Yeah.
make this
Nice cream,
exciting?
sponsor this video.
Well, nice cream. And so basically it's just you put frozen fruit in a blender with a little bit of water and it's just like ice cream. And so it's just ice cream like with
Oh,
fruit. And
okay.
so right before this, I literally, I need to go to the grocery store. I have no food. And so I'm like, oh, nice cream. And so I put a little bit of coconut water, frozen pineapple, frozen mango, and some dates. And I'm like, I got like a ice cream basically. And that was what I had. But that's
I
a
might have
treat.
to
It's
get
so
myself
good.
that Ninja Creamy or whatever it's called.
And then you can put date sauce on top of it, and it's better for you than eating Taco Bell, and you're eating like this bowl of fruit that's frozen
You
and
don't
like
know that, Kelly. You don't know what's better for me. I love my Taco Bell. Yo quiero Taco Bell.
Your tacos, sir? Would you like all of our fire sauce?
Yo quiero Taco Bell. ¡Ay, ay, ay! ¡Ole, ole! ¡Tacos para siempre! ¡Vámonos!
I know. One of my good friends actually worked for Taco Bell, so I do know their ingredients are better than what you would think that they are. They do have some
Really?
yeah, they do have
That's
some
it.
fun.
You
Yeah.
heard it here first, folks. I am atoned for my. Everyone makes
Yeah,
fun of me
they
for my
have some
love for
decent
Taco Bell.
ingredients. Yeah, so but no, I used to love Taco Bell too. I did too, but yeah, I just that went away. I don't think I would ever eat a Taco Bell now. I don't think I could.
That's fair. That's fair.
Yeah. I don't know.
Yeah, it's I just had a thought based on what you were saying, and it totally slipped away. Ugh. I don't know. But I love food. I really do love food. And
Well, I was gonna say you can build. I've built so many different fitness bodies because I've broken my body down, built it back up,
mm.
broken it down, built it back up so many times. I mean, I broke my neck like 9
Oh,
years ago.
wow.
So like, yeah, I broke my, and so I couldn't work out for 9 months. And so it's like then you don't work out at
Wow.
all. And then so it's like I've learned that like you can take these periods off, and if you don't go to the gym right now, it's okay. It's like you're not
Mhm.
gonna just be doomed, and it's like it's not forever. It's like it can change. In 6 months later,
Yeah.
my life might be in a different place, and I'm going to be working out more and more focused on my fitness and health and stuff. So
Yeah. It's always really fascinated me. Like humans are so resilient, but we're also so fragile. Like you hear those stories of like, oh yeah, the guy was walking and then he tripped and then he cracked his head and he died. I'm like, what? That's all it took? But then you hear, oh, this person fell out of I was gonna swear. Whatever. This person fell out of a freaking plane and survived. And also they're fine. And also this person had 94, gunshot wounds and cancer and and fell out of a plane. and now they're fine. And so when it comes to our bodies and our health, and like you said, going up and down with fitness and this and that, like we have such a capacity to adapt, especially to our environments. Like you see those guys who are walking barefoot in the mountains in the snow, and I'm like, dude, if I step foot in the snow just to go to my hot tub in the backyard, I'm like, oh. Like, and that's the same species. That guy he's just me, but with hard feet.
yeah, I can't do the cold. I'm not the cold plunges are not for me. That is not my thing.
No, you're not. You're not taking vlogs every morning. And hey, guys, day 572, cold plunging in the morning.
Actually, I'm in the camp that they're not good for your body. So I'm on that opposite camp, but I will be devil's advocate over here because
Hot
since
take.
since I looked at blood work and since I looked at hundreds of people's blood work, most like 90% of people's blood work, stress. Most people, stress or sleep. So you're already in fight or flight. You're going to put yourself in cold water that you're putting your body in fight or flight even more. When you're already in fight or flight, you're pushing your already stressed body even to more stress. And so most people out there should not be doing this. Like it's just causing more stress in the body, and they think it's resilience. I'm like, no, you're already in fight or flight that you don't even know this, and you can be in fight or flight and not even feel like you're in fight or flight. Like I've taken tests and they're like, oh, your adrenals. I'm like, no, like I don't feel like I am, and so you might not even know, but most people, if you do the blood work and you really dig in, they're dealing with a lot of stress, oxidative stress.
Yeah.
Crazy.
Wow.
Yeah. So I
What
would
is
say
it?
be careful.
Is it cortisol that it increases? Like what's the chemical that it produces where it makes you feel good all day, and now
The
you're
stress
like,
hormone, yeah, cortisol, yeah, it's
yeah,
the stress hormone, yeah. So yeah, it's
yeah,
I
which is
understand.
interesting, right? Because it's like you're I've heard this too. It's like, yes, like your skin might be better temporarily, or you might have more energy, or you might feel more awake, but it's because your body thinks you're dying. So you're now putting actually a lot. It's just like doing really, really heavy deadlifts. It's like, yes, you're making yourself stronger, but you're also potentially damaging your knees and your back and your I'm seeing an osteopath for the first time tomorrow. No, on Thursday. Have you ever been to an osteopath?
Yeah, my neck. When I broke my neck.
Oh, yeah. So I was just talking to somebody earlier. Actually, he broke his back, and we were talking about osteopathy and these different. So I've done chiro, I've done physical therapy, I've done massages. Chiro feels awesome when they crack the shit out of you, but I've never had anybody. I like it, but I've never had anybody fix my sciatic issue that I've had for years, and everybody seems to be telling me go to an osteopath. So I don't know. What was your experience?
I would say I didn't have a good experience.
No?
I have very negative experience with doctors, so it's just that's kind of why I did what I did and pushed myself to get certified in blood work so I could fire all my doctors. But yeah, I had a really horrible one. I wish I could I should write really bad things about it. He was horrible. He
No.
made me cry multiple times. Like he was the reason why I hate doctors, honestly, or one of the reasons, and it's just, yeah, I've had a lot of issues, with misdiagnoses in my life or my family's life, or there's been a
Wow.
lot. And so it's just,
All right, text me his address. I'll put it right here.
All right. Well, it's funny. I've met someone down the line that went to him too, and they said the same thing. I'm like, it wasn't just me. Like, I thought I was crazy. Like, he was horrible, and it's like, I don't understand. Like, just be personable, be nice to these people. Like, I was really,
Yeah.
I didn't know what I was doing. I had a broken neck. I was like, this is all new to me. Like, I was in this like really vulnerable place, and he was not nice to me. Like,
Wow.
and so yeah, it was all an accident too. Like you say, I fell over backwards and I hit my neck on a TV stand, and yeah, crazy. Like you never know,
Oof. Yeah, I heard who was it? I just heard like a famous actor, I think, just like severe injuries, and it was like, yeah, they were like, oh, Keanu Reeves, I think he I don't know if he broke his back or no, he didn't. He broke something, his shin or his leg. So on the recent movie he did, which I forget what it's called. So he plays like an angel in the movie. As far as I know, it's not a very physically demanding role for him compared to, John Wick and these other things. But he said he got the most injured on this last movie than anything else. And if I'm not mistaken, don't kill me if I'm wrong, it was literally in his trailer. He slipped on something.
Yeah.
That's what I'm saying. Is like this man is doing like barrel rolls, diving and doing fight scenes and knives and guns and this and that. And then slipped on a Tonka truck. That's not what it was, but you get the point. A Lego was in the wrong place.
Yeah, it's crazy, like just little things, and yeah, and they say, oh, as we get older, I'm like, no, it was just really honestly an accident. Like it was a drunk accident, but it was honestly an accident. The reason I am sober today, but
I mean, hey, I guess it all happens for a reason, right?
it does, yes.
Jeez, yeah, and it's fun. Yeah, I think, but you know what? I think, okay, I'm not saying everyone should break their neck, but I think we all need sometimes. That day when you wake up in the morning and you stretch a little too much and boom, you kink your neck and now you can't look around for 3 days. I think we need those moments and those random minor injuries to actually bring us back down to earth and make us realize like, hey, I should be a little bit more careful. I should take care of myself. I should stretch at the gym maybe a little more than I do. Yeah.
Yeah, right. You shouldn't be waking up aches and pains. I'm in my mid-40s. I wake up feeling fantastic. I'm like, we shouldn't have aches and pains. We shouldn't feel bad. We shouldn't need caffeine to get us through the day. I don't know. We are energy. We don't get energy from other things.
I like that. Cool. Put that on a bumper sticker. We are energy.
We are energy. Yeah, we're we're energetic.
It's encouraging though, because I remember growing up, so I'm 30 now. And, everybody tells you, well, downhill from here. Good luck. I'm like, what do you mean, dude? I'm only ideally less than a third into my lifespan, and you're telling me the rest is going to suck? That's depressing. And then you create a mindset around it, and you create, habits around it. And I'm like, but then I've met guys, because obviously men and women are different with our physiology and the way we age and our fat content and muscle content, all that kind of stuff. But I've met so many guys that are in their 40s, 50s, even 60s, and they're benching more than me, and they're stronger than me, and they're healthy, and I have more aches and pains with my sciatic garbage than they do. And I'm like, oh, so there is a path, God forbid any other kind of illness that you can't directly control. But if for the things that I can control, and for the, my body that I can protect and strengthen, there is a path to be healthy and happy into your 60s and in 70s even.
Yeah, that was something that irritated me so much. But when I worked in a corporate office, that's all I heard from people, because I was a little younger than everyone that sat around me. But I would hear, "Oh, just wait till you get older. Just wait." I'm like, "No," and they're like, "Oh, just wait till you're 40." I'm like, "I am 40. I feel great. I don't have those." So it's like, wait, what? And then like everyone was sick all the time. I never even got COVID. I don't get sick. That doesn't happen. I haven't been sick for 6 years. And so I'm like,
Amazing.
I live this different life. But my coworkers, they're eating out, they're eating whatever. I'm sitting in a corner just eating my fruit in a bowl, and I'm just like, I don't know what you guys are talking about. And they're like, "Oh, something's going around." I'm like, "No, it's not." Like, there's nothing going around. Like it's just I live in a very different world. I don't know. It's very different
Yeah.
when you take care of yourself.
Well, do you think part of it is actually the energy, your mindset, your attitude, the words that you're speaking? Everyone's getting sick. No, they're not. Like it's
No,
almost
they're
like you're rejecting the energetic sickness, if that makes sense. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and I think that's been a key too, because I think I tell myself like, "You're so healthy, you're so healthy, and it's like what you tell yourself actually manifests sometimes. And it's like, if I sit there
Yeah.
and tell myself I'm healthier than anyone I know, guess what happens? I'm healthier than anyone I know. Like, and I kind of am, and it's crazy. But yeah, I tell myself this all the time. And when you start to tell yourself like, "Oh, I'm getting sick," or "Oh, maybe that's this," or "Oh, maybe that's cancer," or something, that's when you start to invite these thoughts in. And why would you do that? Like, think positive. And I think that's what's gotten me so far in almost everything I've done, is I think very positive. I'm so positive. I annoy people that I'm so positive, but it's just, you got to be positive. Like, it's all going to work out, and it always does work out.
Yeah. I love it. I think you need to be, I heard a long time ago, to be an entrepreneur, you have to be the most optimistic person in the room, right? And that doesn't mean you're not going to go through stuff. Frankly, you're probably going to go through a lot more than the average person, because now you're on a path to excellence, right? It's like,
It's a hard path.
it is indeed. And it's like the average person is, I don't know how to explain this besides using this book that I always reference. It's called The Dream Giver by Bruce Wilkinson. And it's about a boy named Ordinary, and he lives in the land of familiar. And every day Ordinary goes to his regular job. And so everything has a name that's representative of what it is. But then, so long story short, Ordinary decides to pursue his big dream. And so he goes into this journey where everybody that lives in the land of familiar, they have these kind of small problems, and they have these everyday things that happen, and everything's pretty similar, and everything's the same. And even the problems they have are all the same. But then when Ordinary goes into the wasteland, and he goes into the Valley of the Giants, and he goes into all these different aspects of that journey, he faces things that those familiar people will never encounter, because they're in their little rat race, and they're doing their thing. And so it's funny when people look at an entrepreneur that's successful and say, well, things just came to them, or they're just lucky, or they're like, do you know the giants they had to face? Do you know the things they had to go through? Now, everyone's different. Maybe some people just were given money from their daddy. But I think the numbers are like 90+% of entrepreneurs are first generation entrepreneurs. Like it's most are not inheritance babies. Most have done something themselves, because then most of the kids of entrepreneurs, unfortunately successful ones, kind of squander it, which is why I don't want to give my kids any money. I want to give them values and lessons and legacy, and mentor them to build their own thing. And if they've built something that is of a equal or a higher status than the things that I've built, then I would feel confident giving them my legacy and passing on my business into their name. But I would never want to just give them an inheritance to destroy them. I'd rather teach them. I'd rather they live a 9-to-5 life and have an average good life with a wife and kids than have all my inheritance and have their lives be destroyed.
Yep. Yeah. It'd be hard if it was handed to me. I don't think I would be able to. I wouldn't be successful if it was handed to me because I've had to work for all of this. I've had to work my butt off for all of this, and I've had to really like make that decision. Like this is mine. Like this is for me. And so many times I've wanted to quit. So many times I'm like, oh, I should just go back to a job. And especially when I left my job, it was like, okay, do I go find another job or do I go all in? And it was that question. I was like, no, I go all in and I do this. I've been praying for this. This is what I've wanted for so long. And I'm like, this is my time. And it is the perfect time to go all in on AI. Maybe some people say it's a little late, but I don't think it's too late at all. I think right now it's like a lot of businesses are turning on to it. Some businesses already have, like the bigger companies and the SaaS companies, a lot of them already have. But right now, the smaller companies, the service companies, the plumbers, the smaller construction companies, they're starting to turn on to AI. A lot of them are just downloading ChatGPT. So there's a lot of opportunity still out there right now.
Yeah. Yeah. I think any excuse is a bad excuse for the most part. Just do it. There's no perfect time for anything. You just got to start. The best time to plant a tree was 10 years ago. The second best time is today, right? So whether it's AI, whether it's crypto, whether it's construction, whether it's web design, I don't know. Just start, because this is the thing, and I talked about this recently in a podcast. Eventually, on the journey, you're going to have an opportunity to meet a mentor. You're going to have an opportunity to meet somebody who's gone before you. And so imagine in your mind like a pool of mud, but like somewhere in the pool, there's nice, clean stepping stones. But to find your way to those stepping stones, first you have to jump into the mud. And then eventually, once you're in that, you're covered, you're soaked, you're dirty, then eventually you'll be able to climb onto a few stones, and now you'll be able to walk the path laid out before you. And then eventually you're going to get to the end of that path, and that path is going to be over. Now you got to jump back in the mud, because now you carve your own path, and now you can leave stones behind you for the next person that comes along. But I think where people get caught up is they don't want to jump into the mud in the first place until they see the stepping stones.
Yeah, and I see that a lot in the AI space. Everyone's like, "Oh, is it too late?" Or "Can we do this?" Or "What did you do? What did you do?" And I'm like, "What I did is not what's going to work for you, And what's working for me is because I tried so many different things, and I've taken all those learnings and I've combined them into this. It's like that's not going to work for you, and so everybody's very different. And I think you
Right.
have to just go through it. It's going to take a lot longer than you think it's going to be. As I think 𝗖𝗄_𝘁𝗵 says this all the time, it's going to take way longer than you ever imagined it would ever take. And I kept hearing that. I'm like, no, it'll just happen. Man, it took so long. And it's still not over,
Yeah.
I still have way more to go, so
Yeah, and long does not mean 30 days, people. It usually
yeah,
takes years to unlearn a bunch of stuff. It takes
yeah,
years to start learning a bunch of stuff, and then it takes years to get good at things you've learned and are now applying. So it's,
yeah. I
you
think
got
I've had probably close to 1,000 conversations with businesses, and so I'm like, it was probably around the 600 where it started to like, okay, now I understand if it's this level of business, this is kind of the automation that they'll probably need. If it's this level of business, they probably need this, and so it started to all make sense. But I had to talk to hundreds and like thousands of businesses to start to get this to make sense.
yeah. And confidence doesn't come before competence, right? Like you can fake confidence, but you kind of just have to go do it, be nervous, be shaky, whatever it is, whether it's a sale, it's whatever the thing is, go do it, be nervous, but then build the competence and the know-how, and eventually that will actually build confidence. And now into the next conversation and the next conversation and the next sales pitch, now you'll just be, oh yeah, this is what we do, blah 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 blah. Does that make sense? You want to partner together? Yeah, you want to partner? Awesome. Hey, it's only this much money. Hey, it's this much money. Hey, let's just start working together. And it comes over time, but you gotta have shaky boots before you can have wealthy crocodile shoes.
Yeah, for sure.
That's a bad
Yeah, I will
analogy,
say
but
the confidence thing is something that has helped me a lot because I'm very confident with because like I said, everything is figure outable, and I know that I can find a solution for people. I know that I will work hard no matter what. So it's like I know in my ability, so I'm very confident in myself, and that has helped so much. And a lot of people in
yeah,
the tech space are not confident because they're like, well, maybe we could do this. And I'm like, no, of course, we'll figure it out. And that is the difference. That's 100% the difference.
yeah, I love it. Well, hey, I know we're at an hour 17 now. I've really enjoyed this conversation, Kelly. I think this is actually really fun. A lot of really cool, interesting topics. You're even more interesting than I thought you were in the beginning. So, because we just met I think we started like a LinkedIn conversation, like, I don't know, a few months ago, and it just kind of teetered here and there, blah, blah, blah. And then eventually one of us was like, hey, let's just jump on Zoom. Let's actually connect. And then since then I started my podcast, and it just happened to work out that you're like, hey, maybe it makes sense to be a podcast guest. And then we met, and, you know, so it's like you, and this is the thing is like, I'm pretty sure I reached out to you initially. Maybe it's the other way around, but I think I reached out to you on LinkedIn.
Yeah,
And
I think it could be either.
yeah, but when we started the conversation, I think it was April 1st, I think is what I saw earlier. I didn't even have a podcast. I didn't even have you probably weren't even doing some of the same things that you're doing now in terms of like,
He's not. Yeah, that's
when
crazy.
we started, when we started the relationship, we didn't even know where it was going to lead. And now the first time we're really having, I mean, we talked like last week, but now that we're having a real long form conversation, it's, you know, so you don't need, that's what I'm saying, to like people just reach out, connect, make friends, network, actually write people's stuff. I have a Rolodex note. I have a note of like people that have useful services or useful things they do. And I write them down.
I have an Airtable. Yeah, I've got a referral Airtable. I've got a bunch.
Yeah.
You're in there now too.
And so that's, you know, because you never know where it's going to go. I didn't know I was going to start a podcast and want to talk to an AI automation expert, you know, so it's like, things just work out, you know, things work out for those that put in the effort. And like I said earlier, you might not reap the seeds and the crop where or when you sow them, but you will reap what you sow in due time. So,
Well,
anyways, if you want to take the last couple of minutes, just, you know, plug whatever you're doing. Where can people find you? What's the best way to get in touch with you? Whatever you want to promote.
yeah, sure. My website, it's I on automations, I like your 𝗖𝚗 on automations.com. And then I'm on LinkedIn as well, 𝘄𝗶𝘁𝗵𝘁 Stevens with a PH.
With a PH, folks.
With a PH.
And then what's your dancing TikTok? No, I'm kidding.
Yeah. I got off of social media. Remember we had this conversation?
Oh, yeah.
No, yeah, I'm not on social media.
But if you want to see me do all the trending TikTok
stuff.
dances.
Yeah, I don't do TikTok dances. I never even did that when I was, you know, trying to do the social. Actually, no. I did a lot of fitness stuff. So I would record myself doing fitness stuff and then like put music behind it. I did a lot of those.
I love it. Well, thank you, Kelly. I appreciate you chatting. And everybody listening, thank you. Thank you for being here.
Yeah, thanks.
Ciao for now.